Hey, Clay Ballard here, and this week's winner is Scott Piercy. He just won the RBC Canadian Open. And for those of you who have trouble getting stuck on your downswing, you're hitting big blocks to the right, you're hitting snap hooks to the left, we're going to go over that, and this is going to be a very helpful video for you to stop getting stuck and to understand just what getting stuck is. So it's typically a better player's problem. A lot of low handicappers that generate a lot of clubhead speed tend to get stuck or too far from the inside, and then they hit some blocks and hooks, as I mentioned before. So we're going to go over that a little bit on what you're doing to get stuck and how someone gets stuck, and also a little bit about what we can do to fix that. So first, let's talk about Scott's swing and some things that I like that he does pretty well. I want you to notice that he looks very upright here, and that's just the aspect ratio of the camera. So this video has been kind of squeezed in so that I can compare his swing with Tiger's swing so that you can see the differences. It's not going to make any difference from what we're talking about on this video, but I just want you to realize that he's not actually that upright as he's swinging. So as he goes back to the top of his swing, there's a few things that I really like. Now, one, I like where the butt end of his club is at the top of his swing. So you can see it's a couple inches outside of his right shoulder, and this is a good position. What I see most of the time when I'm doing my swing reviews or giving in-person lessons, people tend to get the butt end of this club too far behind their body. So kind of over here by this X that I just drew. And that's an effort to get more power. So they're trying to get this club really, really deep and get the right arm bent and really have that club way back there so they can get as much power as they can. And it's not a very powerful position. It just feels powerful because you feel very loaded up. And what happens when you get the club back here by this X that I drew is now you're going to have to rip open your shoulders to try to get the club back out in front of your body by the time you get to impact. So we got to really do a lot during the downswing that's not very effective. Now, another thing that I like the plane of his shoulders. So with the golf swing, we're really wanting to rotate perpendicular to the spine with our shoulders, which he's done a very nice job of here. For people that get too flat with the shoulders or too steep with their shoulders, it causes a lot of problems. You're going to have to manipulate a lot of things during the downswing. So he's doing a great job of keeping a good shoulder plane, keeping his shoulders perpendicular to his spine. I also like the position of his hips. So you'll see he's only got about 45 degrees of hip turn during the backswing, which is a great thing. And his right knee is bent. You also notice his right knee is pointing forward. If he had straightened this right leg, this is another thing that I see people do all the time. They straighten their right leg so it's just dead straight, and then the hips rotate way more than they're supposed to. They're rotating 60, 70 degrees. What this does, it gets you swinging too far back, the club gets long, and you're not building any torque. So by keeping this right knee bent as he has here, he's building torque throughout his torso. He's creating separation between his hips and his shoulders, and a stretched muscle and all this torque that he's building up is going to give him more power on the downswing. Now, Scott is a long hitter. He's ranked about 15th on tour. He averages just over 300 yards for driving distance, and that's part of the reason is he's in a pretty good position at the top, and he goes at it pretty hard at the bottom, but he's been able to build some torque through separation of his hips and his shoulders. One thing I will mention that is not ideal is his right forearm is starting to flare out away from his body some. So if he could keep this right elbow a little more tucked in, closer to where this red X is here, as though he was feeling that this right elbow is pointing back toward the camera instead of what would appear to be the left of the camera from our view, that would help him to stay better on plane and have less manipulations during the downswing. So his right elbow is going to have to get back out in front of his body on the downswing, and it's going to throw things off just a little bit, or have to make a few little compensations. So if we take Tiger to the top, we're going to see a lot of the same things. Tiger has a little bit better right forearm position. He's going to have fewer manipulations to make in the downswing. His shoulder plane is perpendicular to the plane of his spine. That's good. He's kept his right knee bent. That's all good stuff there too. And the butt end of his club is just outside his right shoulder. So those are all good things that we're trying to work on doing in the swing. Now, I mentioned before about getting stuck. So whenever you get stuck, essentially what's happening is the club head is getting too far behind your body, and then it's swinging out to the right. So the club path is inside out. Outside in would be the problem that most amateurs have, where they're swinging over the top. So inside out is more of a better player's fault that they do. So they kind of get that club swinging to the right. Most of your high handicappers are going to be swinging outside in. So let's watch halfway down his swing here and see exactly what happens to get him going inside out. The first thing I want to draw your attention to is that his shoulders are opening quite quick in the swing. So now he's already got his shoulders maybe 30 degrees from being square to the ball, and his club head is already, or his club in general, and his arms are getting stuck behind his body. So his upper body is spinning and his arms and hands are staying back. So you can see his left arm here is really draped across his chest, and the club head is nowhere near where the buttons of his shirt are pointing. So the buttons of his shirt are already almost pointing down toward the ball. The club head is well back. Let's watch Tiger in this same position, and Tiger does a really good job, almost textbook, of what we should be doing. So let's take his hands about right here. They're at the same position that Scott's in. You'll notice that his shoulders are much more closed to the ball than Scott's are, and you'll also notice that his club is his hands are more in front of the buttons of his shirt. So that's the feeling that you're going to get. That's not exactly what's happening, but that's the feeling that you're going to have, is that your hands are working down and they're staying in front of the buttons of your shirt. So if there was an arrow shooting out straight from the buttons of your shirt, your hands would be in front of it. And that's just a feeling, as I mentioned. The shoulders will be a little bit more open than that. The buttons of the shirt will be pointing a little bit more to the left. Let's go down a few more clicks and let's talk about the most traditional way that people measure whether or not you're getting stuck. That has to do with the right forearm and the plane of the right forearm. Alright, so as he comes down, let's get that club where it's right through the middle of the forearm, that height. You'll notice that the club head is well inside of his right forearm. So if I draw a line here up his right forearm, you can see the club head is underneath this. And that means it's just too far behind his body. Now from this position, you have no choice but to swing the club head to the right. As I watch Tiger in the same position, take his club head all the way down where it's right in front of his forearm, you're going to notice this is a textbook position for being perfectly on plane during the downswing. So he's not coming over the top, he's not coming inside out, he's right perfectly on plane. So the angle of his forearm is bisecting the driver from the down the line view. And that's just where you want to be. You'll also notice that his shoulders at this point are still quite closed, where Scott's are almost square to the ball. So he's really fighting he's going to have to try to get that club back out in front of him now, and that's where the inconsistency comes in. So at the bottom, he has to really roll these hands to square up the face. So it's a little bit of a flip to close the face at the bottom of the swing. His club head's pointing to the right. If he doesn't get that club head closed enough, if he doesn't flip it enough at the bottom, then he's going to hit a huge block out here to the right. That's what you'll see a lot of better players do many times. They're hitting these big blocks because they're getting stuck, they're getting too far from the inside. Now if he squares the hands too much, so he's coming down and he tries to time it up so he doesn't block it out to the right, and he really flips the hands and it goes too much, now the club head is swinging to the right, but the face is pointing to the left. And when that happens, you get a big snap hook. And what I've found for most players, when they hit what most people would call a double cross, the club head's actually swinging out to the right and the club face is pointing to the left. So you're not actually swinging to the left. Usually you're swinging to the right when you hit, a quote-unquote double cross, or what most people would consider a double cross. I rarely see that happen. You can do that. You can swing to the left and really close the face and hit a double cross, but most of the time I see it from people that are coming inside out with the face really, really closed. So as Tiger comes on down to impact, pretty much a textbook position, what we're looking for. The shoulders are square to the target line, hips are a little bit open. He's very flexible, so his hips are open more than most people are going to be able to do. If you get your hips this far open, your shoulders are going to start opening up too. So if you see this position with his hips, not everybody's going to be able to do that. You don't have to mimic that. More importantly is the angle of the shoulders. You'll see Scott's gotten a little bit open at impact. His hips are a little closer to what most people are going to be able to do. So they're still open, but no more than 45 degrees. 30 to 45 degrees is what we're aiming for. We would like to have the shoulders square. Okay, so now we know what we're doing wrong. We're getting too far from the inside. Our club is getting stuck. We're swinging out to the right. We're hitting some blocks. We're hitting some snap hooks. The most important thing is how we're going to fix this. So we know what's going on, how we're going to fix it. And that's where I'm going to help you out. I'm going to put a link in the description below. What that's going to do is it's going to sign you up for our free, if you go there, you can sign up for our free membership. Now, our free membership has over 2.5 hours of instruction. It's not one of these memberships where you sign up and then you join up and then a month later we end up billing you or something like that. No, you're going to be a free member for the rest of your life. It's never going to cost you a dime to watch the over 2.5 hours of free instruction. And what I'm also going to throw in there is if you click on the link from this particular video, and only for this video, I'm going to allow you to see a video that goes over how to trace the plane line and how you can fix from coming inside so that you'll never block those shots to the right again. You'll never snap hook again. Now, it's only available to premium members on the website usually, and if you try to go to our website and watch that video on your own, you're not going to be able to do it. So only by clicking on the link in this description are you going to be able to see this video for free. And the secret has to do with the right forearm and how we work this right forearm on the downswing, and that's going to help us to be perfectly on plane during the downswing. So if you've struggled with coming inside and you can't figure out how to do it, we're going to show you, and it has to do just with this right forearm. It's a very easy, simple move, and it's going to be really beneficial for you to stop hitting those blocks and hooks. We're also going to go over some things on how to keep the shoulders square and keep those from spinning out, and all kinds of other information that you're going to get for free. So click the link below in the description. I look forward to seeing you on the website, and we look forward to having you as one of our members and being part of our team. Good luck with your golf game.